Hey there, everyone. Happy Tuesday. It is Shelley Levi, and tonight I'm going to continue on with kind of my takeaways from a video I shared from Dr. Tom O'Brien yesterday. So in that video, he had talked about basically CBD oil and how it's helping with multiple health issues in the medical industry. And so now I am no doctor. I am not a medical expert, none of that. And I'm not here to make any medical claims. However, what I am doing is I'm sharing the information that I'm finding from people like Dr. Tom O'Brien, who is an expert in the autoimmune field in the medical industry, and also sharing some other research that I'm finding so you guys have more information and more knowledge on this subject matter to be able to start making more maybe educated choices and letting you know you have options if you come across some of these things. Hey, Jesse, thanks for jumping on tonight. And so his video is really long, and I'm trying to condense this down on my takeaways from it. But what he did, though, is one of the topics he talked about was anxiety and depression. So I'm going to read a little stat here. This was not in his video, but this is something that I found. On the American Psychiatric Association, they say depression affects an estimated 1 in 15 adults every year, and 1 in 6 at some point in their life. Guess what? I'm a part of that stat. I'm that part of that 1 in 6 at some point in their life, dealing with anxiety and depression. And it was right at about the time that I was suffering when we had just gotten the diagnosis for my celiac, but my body was so incredibly bad. I had not really started a full gluten-free diet to get a lot of the inflammation out of my diet to where I started to feel better. So depression was one of the symptoms, and anxiety was one of the symptoms I was dealing with before I was able to make some of those dietary changes and help that out. But this is what is amazing me right now is Dr. Tom O'Brien talks about anxiety and depression. And unlike we are most commonly thought or to think, is that we're told that this is a problem with the brain, that this is coming from some sort of chemical imbalance with a lot of brain disorders. But what Dr. Tom O'Brien says is that not really the case. He says, and I quote, "Every brain dysfunction has inflammation as a mechanism of the dysfunction, unless it was due to head trauma." So let me repeat that. Every brain dysfunction has inflammation as a mechanism of the dysfunction. So it's that inflammation, and it's getting into the brain that's throwing things off and causing these things to take place. So it's not just a problem with the brain. And he's got a book coming out. It comes out on September 18th. And in the book, he refers to it as B4. B4, which means he refers to as breach of the blood-brain barrier. And what he makes reference to is like your leaky gut. With people who deal with leaky gut, it's where there's large holes I'm using that as an exaggeration, but there's these larger than normal openings that have developed in the gut, allowing for toxins and chemicals and junk to get through that should not be getting through. It should be filtered through. It's like you have this netting, and when you have leaky gut, all of a sudden that netting becomes larger and bigger things are getting through. And that's essentially what he says is happening to the brain. He refers to it leaky gut, leaky brain. That means there's molecules and toxins getting into the brain that should not be there. And this is even stress related type things. So he also commented that some of these toxins, and he said the most common one was wheat. Wheat sensitivity is the most common symptom in brain dysfunction. And he refers to the wheat zoomer. Wheat zoomer. So you can go to thedoctor.com, and he calls it a test, the wheat zoomer, and to see if you potentially could have a wheat sensitivity that can be starting to cause more of this inflammation taking place in the brain. And that can lead to certain issues like anxiety and depression. So when asked, he was answering a question that people were typing in the comments, just like as I'm on right now. They were typing the comments, and someone had asked him about anxiety and depression and if the CBD oil would help with that. And his response was, absolutely, because of the inflammations that's taking place in the brain, the CBD oil will go in and help reduce some of that inflammation, so then that way the brain can start functioning as it should. So I decided now to take a few, I kind of did a little bit digging. This was not in his live video, but what I did, because I wanted to show you how easy it is to find some of this information right on the internet. I went and I searched for 5 different studies or research on CBD and anxiety and depression. And this is what I found. Number 1, Journal of Psychopharmacology, 2010 study, CBD and social anxiety disorder. And this is what they found. See, it reduces symptoms of social anxiety disorder. It went on to say that brain scans revealed changes in blood flow to the regions of the brain linked to anxiety. All right, so we know it changes things going on in there. Study number 2. This is what Dr. Tom O'Brien recommended, and I gave it in yesterday's Facebook Live video, pubmed.gov. So I went to pubmed.gov and entered in CBD and anxiety, and guess what popped up? CBD had anti-anxiety and antidepressant effects in animal models in one of the studies that popped up right on that website. That was a website recommended from Dr. Tom O'Brien. Another one, number 3, that was on that same one. It was a 2011 study, and this is how it went. It was on the modulation of the serotonin system through the endocannabinoid signaling. Researchers found, in quotes, ample evidence that the endocannabinoids are important regulators of stress responses. Thus, it can be assumed that during depression, CBD has the ability to regulate one's response to stressful situations. All right. Study number 4 here. It came from a website, Neurotherapeutics, and it was a 2015 study. And in that one, it was a CBD treatment of anxiety disorders. It says it's a promising treatment for numerous forms of anxiety, including social anxiety disorder, panic disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, general anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder. And the last one I found, number 5 here, came from the University of São Paulo in Brazil and King's College in London. And this one was a study where they observed CBD directly activates the 5-HT1A serotonin receptor, thereby conferring an anti-anxiety effect. All right, there you go. 5 studies and researches on anxiety and depression, on what CBD is being able to do as it enters the body, and it triggers those CB2 receptors that are part of our endocannabinoid system that already exists in our body and that is associated with immune health and restoring our body to homeostasis. It works on our brain, it works on our immune system, it works on our endocrine system, it works on our central nervous system. All these receptors are in all these systems throughout our body. And when CBD enters our body, it triggers that to be able to fire again and do what it needs to do to reduce the inflammation that are in these areas, causing things to go haywire. That's right. That's what is taking place. So again, how do you just ignore this information when you know 1 in 15 adults every year are being diagnosed with anxiety and depression? 1 in 6 in their lifetime. We're seeing it more in kids. How do you not pay attention to a natural potential solution to the pharmaceuticals that people are being put on to manage these types of things? All right, I just have to share this kind of stuff because I know I've already have friends that have been able to come off some of those prescription meds because of what CBD has been able to do for them, and with no side effects. All right, now I know this isn't for everyone, but it doesn't hurt to look in and learn a little bit more about this and see if this is a potential solution for you. You can have an educated discussion with your doctor when you are able to, be able to have that information available to come at them and ask the right questions. Why they're doing what they're doing, why would they consider this based on what you know? Share the information you learned. When you're armored with that kind of information, you can really go in and have a much more role in what's being taken place with your health and how it's being managed. All right, so that's all I'm saying here. Don't be afraid to take up and take more responsibility for your health and go in and fight for your health. Don't just allow things to be thrown at you with ridiculous amounts of side effects when there are other potential solutions out there. All right, now if you would like to learn more about CBD oil, I have this Facebook group that I can put you in that you can obtain more information about the science behind it. Again, how it physiologically works in the body, and some of the results people have been getting with lots of different health ailments and what this has been able to do for them. All right, it doesn't cost you anything to go in there and to learn and obtain that information. All right, so if you would like to learn more about that, please comment below and I can add you to that group. All right, I want to thank you guys so much for jumping on tonight. And tomorrow night, this is the final Facebook Live that I'm going to do on Dr. Tom O'Brien's live video, the feedback. And so the question came up, Does someone need to take CBD the rest of their life? Inquiring minds want to know. And I've got an answer for you. So tune in tomorrow to hear, is CBD oil something you are going to have to do the rest of your life? It's a great topic. So I'm going to share what Dr. Tom O'Brien said and kind of give you a little bit of feedback on my thoughts on that question as well. All right. Thanks for jumping on, and you guys have a great evening. And if you found this video to be valuable, if you know someone with anxiety or depression, maybe tag them in this so they can see it, or maybe share it to them. You never know what you might be able to do to help that person who could be struggling more than you realize. All right. Thanks again. You guys have a great night. Bye-bye.